Whether you're writing the next great American novel or your next essay, chances are you've run into the nightmare that is writer's block. Today, I'm going to go over some of my tips to help you combat this awful feeling of having no clue what to put on the page. Writer's block is any time as a writer where you are just stumped. It's like having a brick wall in front of you and you can't get any words out. You don't know where to go in your plot, you don't know what to say, how to describe something, and you're just kind of blocked. It is an awful nuisance. It can feel like a nightmare and it can feel like it will never end, but trust me, that is not the case. Before we get started, I just want to say a disclaimer that every writer works differently. All progress is progress, and not all tools are going to work the same way for everyone. I bet you have some writing block tips of your own that are probably different than mine, and if you do, I encourage you to share them in the comments. Now let's get started with tip number 1. My first tip for combating writer's block is that when you feel it coming on, step away. Go on a walk, organize something. Try, if you can, to engage in some sort of activity that allows you to take a break from your story while still not, putting your full attention into something else. Physical activities like running an errand, going on a walk, going to the market, whatever you're doing, can be really helpful because they give you the option to let your mind wander if you choose. I know there's lots of authors who will go on walks and kind of plot their stories as they do or think about that next plot point. You might be on a bike ride and all of a sudden you solve that problem that you're experiencing and then you're back to your desk and off to the races. In my most recent spat of writer's block, I ended up doing a lot of spring cleaning, and then by the time that I was done, I felt ready to write again. It was kind of like a little mini vacation from writing that allowed me to refresh, unwind, think about where I wanted to go, and then get back into it. Tip number 2 is to get creative. Similar to stepping away, you want to remove yourself from your story, but then engage in something else that is creative. That way you keep those, creative signals, those pathways in your brain going, but you're not using up all that energy getting frustrated with your story. There's so many different creative outlets that you can engage with, from painting and drawing to theater, dance, even things like speed cubing and yo-yoing can be very creative outlets. Doing a puzzle. The same way that you step away to take a walk or organize, you can keep getting creative and keep in that creative mindset. Take a break from your story, and when you come back, you might find that you're recharged and ready to go. The other great thing about getting creative is that you can find inspiration in those other outlets for the story you're working on. If you're the kind of person that wants to try and keep writing, tip number 3 is for you, and that's going to be writing prompts. There are so many writing prompts out there, ones that will have everything to do with your story and nothing to do with your story. You can even try drafting a part of your story like it's a scene from a movie if you just want to focus on dialogue, or write it as a short story or a one-shot, taking some of those different prompts. You can write something completely different and then come back to what you're writing. There are so many writing prompts out there, from Pinterest and Tumblr to websites crafted just for writers, that you're bound to find something that will get you thinking in the right mindset. And that's it too. You don't even have to write. Just read lists of prompts and think about how they might relate to your story. Would your characters do that? They would. Go write it. The fun thing about these writing prompts too is that you get to explore your characters more and get more into the depths of your story, and they may never see the light of day, and that's perfectly okay. But it could tell you something more about your characters that you could end up using later, or it might end up being in the story. You never know, but it's worth a shot. My 4th tip for combating writer's block is going to be using deadlines. Deadlines have become my best friend over this past year. It can be difficult when you're working as an independent writer and you're working on your own schedule, trying to keep yourself going in a flow that you would if you were, working on school assignments, work assignments, whatever else you're doing. But setting deadlines for yourself can change the entire way that you think. This is a key component to combating writer's block in TV and movie studios, especially in the case of television, because every week or every 2 weeks, however long it takes to shoot an episode, you have to have that new script on the table. Sure, the writer's room can revise it after the first table read, but everybody's gonna be ready to film something, so you have to have something ready as a writer. My favorite way to set deadlines for myself is using the Pomodoro study technique, which allows you to do timed work sessions, whether it's 25 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, however long you choose, you work uninterrupted for that period of time, and then you take a break. You can do these standalone in sets of 3, however much time you have. The great thing about the Pomodoro method is not only that it breaks up work and taking a break, but that it's very flexible with your schedule. Plus, there's so many different videos now for the Pomodoro method online. You can listen to different ambiances with timers, lo-fi music. Abby Emmons has some great ones that really situate you into different genres as a writer. There's tons of resources out there for the method. Another way, of course, that you can set deadlines for yourself is by keeping a calendar of different points in the story that you want to get to. Say you have your chapter outlines and you say, okay, on this day I'm going to have this chapter written, or I'm going to have this revised, and you have to follow that calendar closely, maybe using a to-do list, but that can also keep you on track. That brings us to my 5th and final tip for combating writer's block, which is to get inspired. Whether this is in the case of motivation or creative inspiration, find something that you can latch onto and then go off into the wild and get creative with. There's tons of motivational quotes and videos if you're just lacking the motivation to write and just feel like you can't overcome the next hurdle. And there's tons of photos that you can look at on Pinterest or Google Images or wherever you go for your pictures, magazines. Read a book, watch a movie, watch a TV show. Engage with something that inspires you and reminds you why you are doing this in the first place, and you might find that you overcome your writer's block. One of my favorite ways to get inspired, besides looking at photos and movies and TV shows and things that get me really excited about my work, is going to a bookstore or library and just looking at everything they have to offer. Reading the inside flap and the back cover, looking at, all the designs and everything, opening pages, whatever you please. I always find this really inspiring because it always amazes me to see how much hard work all these authors have put into writing these stories and the different things they write about and discover. So every time that I go and see other people's work, I get really inspired to dive back into my own. As for engaging with other materials like a movie or a TV show, sometimes I'll watch something and say, hey, I'd really love to make something like that someday. And that gets my wheels turning as to what that would look like for me. That concludes my tips for combating writer's block. Writer's block can be incredibly frustrating. However, once you stumble across a new idea or find that new vein of motivation, it can be such an exciting process to jump back into your project. I truly hope that these tips help you the next time that you're facing a dreadful case of writer's block. Thank you so much for watching, and go write. Motivation right here. Go write.